major scale. Sorry, I was doing a little arpeggiating. The major scale. Okay, I've talked about the major scale in some lessons recently, but I haven't put them online yet. But I wanted to go through the shape of how to play the major scale on the guitar for anybody who's interested. And it's this is the first scale I learned. Then I learned the pentatonic scale. I think I learned in that order. I learned them very close together, but a lot of people skip the major scale because the pentatonic scale ends up being the blues scale, which ends up being the rock scale, which is much cooler and funner to play, obviously. A lot of people, that's the only scale they play their whole career, and they make a fine career out of it, but it's more beneficial to learn thoroughly, so I teach the major scale first, which is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So here it goes. I just sang it. Let me get in the right key. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Try to do it backwards. It's hard. Do, ti, something. I don't know. It's easier like this. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the shape, and I was trying to put some diagrams up where you can see it, but and I can't zoom right now. I'm working on some of those things, but I think my hand's in the right place. I'm gonna walk up actually, so you can see my hands, and you won't hear me talking for a second, but you'll be able to see the shapes much better. I'm gonna play through it a couple of times, kind of, and then I'll come back and talk about it. Say that 3 times fast, man. That's the minor scale. That's the top 2. Okay, so now I do it again, and you can see from afar, but you can go back to that and really get a better look at it if you need to. I'll work on the quality and sort of the professionality of the videos, but in the meantime, if you want to start learning the major scale, I'm good actually. It's my manager. True story. Anyway, this mic stand is in a terrible location. Ah, there we go. That's better. Anyway, for this, so close as I can get it. All right, so I'm gonna play it through it again so I can tell this. So if I do the frets, remember we were like the high is 1, the low is 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the strings. So the shape of this scale would be on the 5th, starting at the 3 fret. It would be 3, 5. Then I'm going to jump to the 4th string, 2, 3, 5. Then we'll jump to the 3rd string, and it's 2. I did 2, 4, 5. So it's strings 5, 4, and 3. And you're going to go 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. And that's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to the tonic, which would be an octave higher. That's the scale. Think about it now. There's another way to play it, but I don't want to show it yet because it's technique driven more than musical education driven. So we'll save the technique for later because right now you really want to understand as much about music as you can, so if once you can play a song, you're interested, it'll just flow easier, trust me. Stevie Ray Vaughan wouldn't learn music theory either. He's like my guitar hero. And I'm so disappointed that he wouldn't learn music theory. Because he couldn't, I heard people talk about it, he couldn't, when you get to a certain level, you can't talk music, you can't read music. It makes sense to me. I mean, it's like the language, but I don't know. He didn't. He wouldn't. So there you go. He's the only one I've ever heard of really taught in that regard, and he is an all-time, could be the greatest guitar player to ever live. I love him dearly, but I think the greatest guitar player to ever live is probably me. No, I'm just kidding. Jimi Hendrix. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was a much better player technically, but Hendrix is just cool, man. And he was really close to the blues, just sort of straight blues. You can hear some of his songs, and it just sounds like the blues. That's ultimately why I like it. Now, and Stevie Ray Vaughan was a blues singer too. Like he's one of the only blues guys to ever, get mainstream. Besides Hendrix, Hendrix created rock and roll, I feel like. But anyway, you want to know is you want to pick up as many of these tidbits, and once I get the piano plugged in and where we can play with it, it's really helpful as we go. But that's the C major scale. It's the exact same scale there. As far as it is the C scale, but it's also the same tone. So I'm playing the exact same tones in a different spot on the guitar. That's where the guitar gives you some benefit over piano, is that you can play. The piano is probably, I love both instruments equally, honestly. I express myself more on the guitar, but the piano is it's just like an education into itself, and you can learn other instruments off of it. And I think the guitar was sort of born out of the need for not being able to carry a piano around. It's like a traveling accompanist instrument. So anyway, that's the scale one more time. It's on strings 5, 4, and 3, or we'll call them A, D, and G if you're so inclined. And it's on the A5 string, it's the frets 3, 5. On the D4 string, it's frets 2, 3, 5, and on the G3 string, it's frets 2, 4, 5, and backwards if you prefer, if you are so inclined also. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out. That's a wrap. Thank you.